this is not my workshop. I've come down to Torquay to see the amazing Dave Smith. We've come down to see Dave Smith, have a workshop tour, look around, maybe have a go at something, see how we go. But most importantly, we've come down because Dave very, very kindly has been working on a new logo for the YouTube channel, which is going to eventually end up on hopefully t-shirts, posters, who knows what. So we're going to get into that later. I think first thing we need to do is have a little tour of this amazing workshop. For anybody that doesn't know, never met you, they're missing out for a start.
Oh, that's kind of you, Dom. Welcome to Torquay again, because it was lovely to meet you 6 years ago, I think 7 years ago now. I think you came down on a little class with the gold leaf work.
Yeah.
So to have you back here is just a real honour, and it's just lovely to see you. But this is my studio. We moved recently, so we were in the other place for like 24 years. And it was time for us just to move on. So we've gone to this place. It had a studio, and I remember my wife found the house, and I was more interested in finding somewhere that had a studio or a workshop. It's all about a workshop, isn't it?
That's it.
And we just found this place, and this is what I was interested in. It even had 3-phase. I was like, oh, great.
When I have to move workshop, it's an absolutely terrifying thing moving all the machinery, but moving all of this glass must have been the scariest thing.
Some big pieces, as you see as well. There's a lot of Victorian pieces, which were, these were made in 1890s. So to move all that was a bit of a nightmare. But we got there. I had the right guys with me to do it, everything survived the move. But yeah, it's great to, over the years I've collected lots of old panels that you find on different sites, or you find in like antique shops and stuff, and you get to a point you think, I've got to stop because I can't keep going like this. This is almost like obsessive,
What do you do here? It's a lot more than just reverse glass gilding.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously I've got a kiln for doing slumped glass. I can silver glass, make it into mirrors. The reverse glass side of it is I've always got into. As a kid, I did my apprenticeship. It took me 5 years, and I carried on then, went self-employed, and took on staff, and as you do, and then it kind of did a bit of a circle, and I'm back on my own and enjoying what I love to do, which is glass work and all the different types of things that involves with that. Rawson and Evans made this. This was a company in Chicago, and they were prolific with reverse glass at the turn of the century. And these were the norm. So today you'd see the cold digital, I call it, of vinyl letters or sticky letters on vans and things you see. This is the process called glue chipping. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's actually, the gold background is a mirror, but it's been poured. So it's called angel gilding, they called it in the States. And it's even got a breathable design on the background to stop the moisture getting to the back of the glass. And that's probably why it survived. That's all hand done. They would have done the angel gilding first. The chipping would have been done first, the embossing process. But you can just see the size of this glass here. Look at these guys standing in front of it. And this would have had all this same technique. And these are huge pieces, like 10 foot high. This must have been at least 15 foot long.
And that would have been like a modern day billboard.
Absolutely.
That's what it would have been.
Yeah, all in glass. And I thought, well, I'll make this little piece. And I made it, and as you can see on the wall there, it's like it's got gradients. I've silvered it.
Oh, I see. So it is one of their designs.
It's one of their designs, and I just thought, well, I'll put it in a frame and make it. And it's just a lot of work, but it was all handmade. And it was kind of nice just to...
Inspired by something from their catalogue.
Rawson and Evans from that turn of the century. Embossing the glass, the chemical silvering, the blend from the gold to silver, and then hand painting all the letters. And it's got that quirky, nice look to it. Whereas some of the letters are like slightly wobbling places. And that's kind of what you want.
How many thousands of people must have put a drip of paint on there? I know I have. Some of that's mine.
That's right. Well, so I've been teaching since 1996, and now I've taught over. It's definitely over 3,000 people. They've all kind of put paint on some of this one, but again, this was only started like 4 years ago. I'm trying to make it into a letter A for art, almost like a bit of a Banksy piece.
Yeah.
I've gone on. I'm still going to carry on teaching people because I enjoy that part. It's such a gives you something really, gives you something back.
Yeah.
And I've started some online classes as well, so that people that can't make the courses, they get a chance to go online and
still have a go.
And have a go. There's 52 hours on there, and people can have a go at that class, and they just...
Good.
Yeah. Again, this is a Victorian panel. You can see, it's 1890s, and it's all hand done. It's a beautiful piece. A friend of mine made the frame for it, and so we put it here for now, but the ideal place for it is to be up high. And these were on pubs at one time. This is one of 3 pieces that I've actually been lucky to look after and have given to me by a friend in the States at Ludlow and Blunt. And so he's passed these on to me, and I've got to look after them, and they're beautiful. This is what I do, so it's just nice. It's in the right hands. And I've got another panel over there which is huge, as you can see. It's like a massive 8 foot by 6 foot.
That's crying out for another frame.
It is, that one is. There's a bit of deterioration with that. This is a piece I did for a friend now. He's become a friend of mine, John Mayer, in the States, and he had me do his album cover, asked me to design that back in 2012, and I made a couple of glass pieces, one for me and another friend, and I made one for John. This is a curved panel, and this was part of the Born and Raised album cover that I designed there for him back in the day, and that was really interesting to make with, especially a lot of the techniques, because it's curved. These panels were like for a friend in the States that he wanted a gift to David Beckham, and this is David Beckham's club over in Miami, and so I made several of these. My friend Aaron made the frames.
Round frames, not easy.
Lovely. And this was curved as well. This was slightly curved.
Yeah.
The actual black was screen printed, and it's a firing ink, so I managed to fire it in the kiln.
So it's part of the glass now, it's bonded on.
It's stained glass, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then afterwards I've come in and painted it and silvered it, and they look really lovely.
Really smart.
And there's one of these over in Miami at the actual club. So it's in the clubhouse, so that's kind of cool.
Great.
Yeah. You still see a lot of this in London pubs, not just London pubs actually, all around cities throughout the UK and the States as well. All different countries have got their own versions of French embossing. And I just did a sample, and you can literally feel the texture on the back of this.
And so I always thought that was sandblasted, but that is
French embossing.
So it's an acid.
It's an acid, and you're trying to get that first white finish, which is the canvas coat. It gives it sort of that atmospheric sort of feel. And you can imagine in pubs back in the day, you know, you'd see people moving around, but they're just hiding, giving them some sort of privacy.
It's very Peaky Blinders, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Isn't it?
That's exactly it.
If you haven't seen it already, and if this video has inspired you so far to look more into glassworking, reverse glass gilding, we'll put a link below in the description to Dave's recent video that's gone out on YouTube. Was it half an hour long?
Yeah, 29 minutes exactly.
29 minutes.
Yeah.
The best 29 minutes you'll spend. Honestly, it's a piece of glass that Dave worked on.
I would say there's literally was 4,000 hours in the work.
Over like years.
Over 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, and designing it and drawing it, and I got carried away with it, to be honest.
There's so many details to that piece of work. It's the most beautiful film. So if you've enjoyed this video, go click on the link below and watch that video, because it's amazing.
So this is part of the online class. There was 12 letters and one number that I made, and this is everything's hand painted, and these were just some of the samples that I made and filmed, you know, creating the actual class to show people how to make this work.
So part of the class, do you get the templates?
You do.
You can,
download them. Yeah,
you can download that number 2.
That's it. It's already made, and I even show you how to draw these letters. So go right from the beginning. We've hardly taken anything out of it. It was literally 52 hours of making these letters and gilding 18 different ways. You've got the different shades of the oil gilding, water gilding, glass scalloping, beveled edges, blended painting. I've got finger blending. There's so much going into it. I just thought it needed to be properly explained on a video to show people that they can keep, as I say. And
the best thing about that is, I mean, it's all well and good coming on a course here, which is obviously amazing, getting to meet you and be here.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
but once you've gone, unless you took notes and you remember it all,
absolutely,
it's all there. So
that's
actually,
why this is why we made this course, so people could, you know, access it to wherever they are in the world, you know,
anywhere in the world, and they can keep coming back to it
all the time. It's there for life.
Dave, you have a massive collection of amazing books here.
Look at this, Huntley and Palmer. I mean, you find these beautiful old books and you get inspiration from it, and this is what typography is about.
Yeah.
In fact, before I do show you that one, there's another one.
No.
This is a German one, and trade cards, and you can see their process of making labels. And this is such a beautiful, inspirational book of old labels and water slide transfers. You can see, look at these old.
Wow.
These are beautiful panels inside here. A French signwriting firm run by apparently a beautiful man. It's all written about him in here.
Is this like a scrapbook?
This is their book. This is their own book they would show to the customer.
But that's all just cut out and...
They're all cut out and stuck
photos.
Old photos, yeah. And this was their catalogue to show stuff.
No way.
So this is an old sign kit that belonged to the chap that taught me. He sadly passed away like 15 years ago now, Jeff. And he had 2 kits. This is one he made when he was an apprentice at the age of 16, before he went into the army and over to the D-Day landings. He fought over there. But this was his first kit as a sign painter, and he gave me all his brushes in the kit when he passed away. He left it to me in his will.
What a special thing to have.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, he got all his quills and his sign writing brushes inside here. He was so quick at sign writing, and he had his own style. He used to do a lot of the London transport, the buses and what have you. And a lot of this work was done with this kit. This is for a wall mural in Quebec, of all places. They asked me to do some sort of like an Art Nouveau. They gave me all the wording. I was just like, you can get carried away with some like engravings and stuff. And back in the day, they used to do all these original tiles, ceramic tiles and whatever, to make it look stone on the side of.
Yeah, all hand carved.
Architectural, exactly. So that was kind of fun.
There's a story for everything, isn't there? You've got so many memories, and it's like a lifetime of.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely brilliant. But the reason for us coming down here was to talk to Dave about my logo for the YouTube channel. What was the brief? I can't really remember. It was British kind of industrial 40s.
Yeah, and making it just a little bit more with some of the illustration to it. But it was fun to draw, actually, this was, really nice.
Because the Dom's logo is kind of the
That's
Dom's
right,
part
you gave
was...
me that. That's right, I remember.
The essence of that,
exactly. I always go down the way of shaping out logos and trying to get sort of the prominent sort of like panels and stuff that I like to do. You can use, obviously, circles or rectangles. And then, and then you can start to make it look more industrial. Like even some of those car badges that you see back in the day.
Literally, that looks like a plaque that you'd have on a big old machine.
It is.
Like a big old lathe or a pillar drill or something like that.
Some of those woodworking machines.
Yeah.
And then we're getting closer. You go, look, to kind of like just rough pencil drawings that I was getting ideas to do with scripts and, trying to build up some sort of a look that I was trying to find. But I wanted to make it look like the script that you had designed as well, and then I just sort of like used part of that and elaborated on that to try and get to the finished product. And you can see then this is the pencil drawing, this is the original, a bit shininess to it because you can see the finished pencil.
Look at that.
And that the idea, so that you can see that I wanted all the tools to go on there. Meliorator I wanted to get in there as like a kind of industrial feel to it. I'm trying to squash this letter in a little bit to, so it's got the same sort of distance in a way, so I cheated that a little bit there.
Because every day is too much, is longer.
Yeah, kind of longer, but it works. I mean, just as long as the spaces were different and then
squidge up every day.
Yeah, and then obviously a meliorator coming through, showing the cast shadows that would be there, maybe popping down through. It was fun doing this for you, and I really enjoyed drawing this and taking my time working on something for you. It kind of tells you everything about what you do. You got your paintbrushes, your spray guns, your hammers, your tools. I got the cogs working. You've even got a blade on there, which is cool looking. Just needed to. There's always a brief. You try to get the brief as close as you can, and the industrial part with the factory scene was just kind of the icing on the cake, really, for you, because I just think that's you. It's like what you do.
Yeah.
And the factories are everything like that, aren't they?
Somewhere near that.
So that one's This was just building up. I started to put lines in it. I thought, okay, lines will look nice, but I might fade those out.
I can't tell you how pleased I am to have this. It will literally stay with me forever. I'm so happy with it. In various different forms, it's going to change, and I'll pick bits out and emboss bits and cut bits and print bits and cast bits, but we're going to have a play around, and I can't wait to actually start messing around with all these different things. But it's a big piece of history, this. I think I'm very lucky to have it.
Oh, thanks, man.
So thank you so much.
More than welcome. It was lovely to design it for you.
Brilliant. Dave also does glue chipping, gilding, sign painting, all these other things, airbrushing. He's also an absolute master at brilliant cutting, which I wasn't even familiar with. I didn't even know what it really was before I came down and met Dave. And it's the most fascinating process and terrifying, I will say, at the same time. But I'll let Dave explain more than me, because he knows a lot more than me. But we get to find out what this amazing contraption really can do. Yeah, there's some lovely old colour schemes here that shows you the typography that you could Look
do.
At that.
And there's also, it goes right the way down for some of the quirkiest lettering and styles that you would think, gosh, that's a bit different. You can see, look at these.
Whoa.
So this is an original book.
How old is this?
This is 1890.
No way.
Yeah, this one is. Or 1889, something like that it was.
Where'd you get hold of this?
I got into this just to add detail to some of the glass signs that I was making. So I went and learnt gold leaf and glass and embossing and stuff. And I always wanted to add a little bit more to it. So I think those early days of travelling around London. So we went to some of those places and I've seen those little facets of glass which were cut, which you'd see on sort of normal crystal glass, like on vases and what have you. Bohemian glass made in Prague and all those types of places. And I thought, great, it'd be nice to put it on flat glass. And I was seeing that in a lot of the old pubs, that atmospheric sort of feel like I talked about. And you could see some beautiful old pieces in the pubs, and they're still there.
Is brilliant cutting on the endangered list? I think it is, isn't
and
it?
it's now becoming, you know, more and more. Well, people are like having a go at it and trying bringing it back, which is good. So I think now it'll come off there eventually, and people will be interested. Just like sign writing, it's all coming.
It's taken off. Oh, it goes backwards.
Yeah, it goes away from me.
Away from you? I thought it would come towards you.
Oh no, you want it dragging away. So literally. Now what I'm doing at the moment is I've got another bit of stone on here. If you imagine sandpaper, when you rub away at some timber or something, it clogs up the sandpaper, doesn't it?
So is this wheel, is that similar to what I've got where I sharpen my tools?
Yeah,
the little bench grinder?
It's probably a little bit different on the actual grade. This is a 220.
Finer, but same principle.
Same principle, yeah.
So how old do you think that wheel is?
Do you know what? I reckon this is, because I got this from an old brilliant cutter that passed away. His wife gave me all the wheels, and it was really lovely. She was living in Liverpool, so I think probably 1900, you know, because he was sort of cutting around about the 1930s.
Goodness me.
So I'm just going over this now, just taking off a little bit of the surface, because it gets clogged up with glass, and it's like sandpaper. It clogs up, you get me? And so it's the same with this wheel. There's a...
So you need to take the top surface off.
Absolutely. And then obviously for just a demonstration, I've just done a few pen marks because I wanted you to have a go and made it, you know, straightforward for you. You can have a crack at that, and I shouldn't say crack, should I?
Oh, don't.
Painted this on the pen marker. It's just... so
it's a pen face down now?
Yeah, so the pen's on the other side, let it dry. Hopefully it's dry enough. And I'm going to just come in and I can see properly, there we are. Just getting the right light. So that little knocking is just where it's just been nipped, that's all. And you can see the cut now appearing. There's the cut getting slightly bigger.
Wow, yeah.
So I'm going to stay in this spot. I'm just going to work it back and forth, just like that. And you're kind of making a moon shape, half round. You can see that drying out now as well, but you can see the cut. And
then,
then if you know.
So what shape is that? Is that just a square? Can I feel the back?
Yeah. So feel the back on this side. It's just this side where the cut is, and it goes to nothing on the other side.
Oh, and we go in and do the other side.
Yeah. No, the other side. That's it.
Oh, right.
That's how you would do it. Those cuts.
That type, that style of cut.
It's called an edge cut.
Yeah. Okay.
The idea is that you get used to one side, but then you've got to get used to the other side.
Yeah, it's like doing it left-handed.
Yeah, and then you'd start again. So this like edge of the wheel here, this part here, will just sit like that. And you're going to build up sort of a wall so that you don't fall out, you see.
Yeah, so it's guiding itself in.
Yeah, and a lot of the cutters, they don't go down too deep. They're the guys that really know their stuff, and they've just been working on it since they were kids. This is what they do day in, day out. And if you're not doing it all the time, you need to go down a little bit deeper just to be...
To hold the edge.
Just to hold the edge there, and then you shape it by doing this. Bit by bit, you come round and you come round, you're building it now, look. And that's why you've got that pen mark there. You can see the shape that you got. I'll come up into that top piece now and join that in. And then I'm going to come back down, spin around. I won't go to the full width, I'll let you finish that, Dom. And then you can come round and you can join that into a nice little leaf pattern. Look at that there. See that?
Oh yeah, I see how now. Yeah, one edge one side, one edge the other.
Yeah. But then when it's polished, we'll polish it and you'll bring it back to clear cut glass. Like
I see.
Like you see in a vase, yeah. So these are frosted.
So it needs polishing after.
You need to polish this then to bring this back. And once it's brought back, it looks like this. You see that? There's that same cut that I've done here.
Yeah, see. I was not expecting this at all, but Dave is going to let me have a go. And I've never done this before, so prepare for me to embarrass myself right about now.
Right, so if you stay there, where is it? There he is, I can see him now. If you stay there, push down a little bit harder, just a touch, there we go. So keep pushing down. You'll see it start to grow
now, yeah.
That's it. Now you can push down on that one, just goes wider quicker, as long as you don't push it that way. The idea is to push down on the wheel. That's it. Cool. All that is where you've gone down too far.
Right.
So stay there for a minute. I see it growing. Can you see that growing? That's it. Keep pushing down. I'll see how hard you're going there. There you go. That's pretty better. Yeah, I'm looking now a bit harder.
Yeah, okay, I'll be a bit gentle.
Yeah, so go down a bit harder. There you go. You got the hang of this already. Try it now. Push it a bit more. That's it. Not too much. That's it. Keep coming up. Now come back down at that same angle. Keep turning it as you come down. This way now, the other way. That's it. Come to me. You got it. That's brilliant. That's it. Now come back down. Now take it off. And there's your beautiful brilliant colour. You got that very well, man.
It's quite straight.
I'll tell you what.
Nice and curved.
For a first attempt and listening to what I was telling you, you followed everything and you've got a really lovely cut there. Hold it up, Dom. That's great. Look at that.
No, it's not
you
quite.
You did really well, though. Look, you've got.
That is so difficult.
You are natural at it. I can tell because you've got that curve. That's a hard thing to do.
I can tell you, it's not as easy as it looks. To be fair, I don't think it even looks that easy. But it's getting a bit late in the day now, and I need to head back to the barn very soon. But Dave has got one last thing that he wants to share with us, something that he's quite proud of, and rightly so.
So this was an album cover I made for a guitarist, and he's become a friend of mine called John Mayer. He asked me to make a design for him through Sony Music back in 2012 it was. I nearly said 1912 then. But even though it's that kind of style, he wanted something which...
It looks like it's from 1912.
Yeah, an old ephemera sort of type of feel to it. And this was the original drawing now. I did a few other pieces to go with it to make, you know, the thumbnail drawings and some ideas all the way through, about 3 or 4 different designs. And this is what I did for him back then for his album cover, Born and Raised. And
so where did this start then? He said that the album's called Born and Raised.
Yeah.
Where does the rest of this... Are there elements of his life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even the clock, the time. There's a reason behind the clock and why it stopped at that time. There's the coins. This was his members of his band that were involved at the time. There was a guy called Ken and Chad, and then different elements. It took roughly about 35 days to design, and then I colorized it, and I'll quickly show you. Kind of made it into
So it's a month's worth of work.
It is really
to get to that solidly every day, pretty much.
Yeah, and he signed it in there for me, which was nice. And we put all this together. There's the back of it as well that a lot of people don't get to see. And I designed a font for him so that he could type out
the whole font you've designed and everything.
He didn't ask for that. I just kind of thought that'd be a nice little touch.
Goodness me!
Because you know, you can then use that throughout the making of it. But it was a great piece.
So that was that. Talk us through. Did that pencil sketch get scanned and then vectorized in Illustrator? Or?
I can make it a little bit bigger for you actually because there's a bigger version of it there.
Conveniently, here we go. That's it.
I've actually colorized in Photoshop after that, but I actually vectored some of the process and then some of it was pen and ink. But yeah, you can see with how it looked out. We were trying to make it look like that old label kind of trade card look to it.
Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thanks so much.
And that is the album cover.
That's the album cover, and I got to meet John then in 2013 in California, which was lovely and nice, a really nice man. And yeah, it was a great experience. And you know, did other ones before. Kings of Leon and working with those guys on a piece for I think it was Beautiful War. It was called.
Brilliant.
And that was a nice one. And Bernie Marsden used to the band White Snake. So other things came about from this. You know.
Now I can actually speak firsthand of being on the receiving end of having one of these beautiful illustrations created by Dave Smith, and I can confirm it's a brilliant experience. Just giving Dave a few little ingredients, so just like, here's my Dom's logo, this is what I do, obviously he already knows, and just go away and make a logo, which sounds like a very similar process you went through with this, of just kind of ingredients from John Mayer. Same process, and yeah, it's awesome. Look at that. Yeah. I've got 2% battery left. I think I've got 2% battery left as well. I'm sure you're the same.
Good.
It's been such a day. I really hope you've enjoyed watching it and getting a little, very small insight into all of the amazing stuff that Dave Smith can do. If you feel inspired after watching this video, there'll be a link below to Dave's website where you can come down here for a 2-day course, a week course. Yeah. There's all sorts of options. Or you can actually get the online courses and learn from the comfort of your own home.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Brilliant.
Nice to meet you all.
Thanks a lot.
This one's amazing. He brought me this today and I'm just over the moon. I can't wait to read this. This is going to be great.
Obviously that's the favourite book of the collection, but if you had to pick one of these as your second favourite.
Oh, this is this one again.
Yeah.